Hi, my name is Phil Conrad. I'm a teaching professor in the Department of Computer Science at UC Santa Barbara. And if you have a CECIL account and you use a Mac, this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to connect the home directory of your CECIL account as if it were just another hard drive attached to your Mac. We're going to start by doing a web search that will bring up the instructions UCSB ECI, which is the ECI is Engineering Compute Infrastructure. It's the group of staff that maintains the CECIL computer systems. And then Samba. Samba, in addition to being a kind of dance, is the name of the software that connects our home directory on CECIL as if it were a hard drive to our computer. The first hit that we get is connecting to a network Samba share. We'll bring that up to see the instructions. The first thing on the instructions is that we need to be connected either to the campus network or we need to be connected to the campus network through the campus VPN. The rest of the instructions may not work if we don't do that first. So if you're not familiar with the idea of a VPN, I'm going to type in UCSB VPN. And the first link here we're going to ignore because that's an ad. We're going to go to the second one, which says Get Connected to VPN UC Santa Barbara. You're going to want to scroll down to where it says macOS, read the installation instructions, and download the software, get that working. I already have that. The software is called Pulse Secure, and I'm already connected. So we will treat that as a given and move on past the instructions for PC to the instructions for Mac. Now, the next thing we're going to do is follow these instructions. Step 1 says be sure you are on Finder. So I see right now I'm actually in Chrome. To get to Finder, I go down to my dock and click this icon, the little happy face. That brings up a window. Finder refers to the windows in which we have folders and files on our Mac. If I go into Mac hard drive, into users, and then into my home directory, these are the files and folders in the home directory of my computer. They show up under the name pconrad because that's my username on my Mac. That also happens to be my username on CECIL, so we're going to want to be careful to keep those separate. But now that I'm in Finder, the next step, I'll scroll this over to the side here. Step 2 is to do Command K to pull up the Connect to Server window. You can also, if you're in Finder, which we are, we see Finder here, you can also find that on the Go menu down here at the bottom, Connect to Server. So either Command K or Go menu and then Connect to Server. That brings up this window right here, the Connect to Server window. Now, the next step, and step 3, is to type in this, CIFS server name share. So we'll do that, but then we see the instructions say that, well, you're not supposed to type literally server name. Server name is actually supposed to be samba.engr.ucsb.edu. And you're not really supposed to type in share. You're supposed to type in your username, your COE username. So it's the username you use to log into CECIL. So now that I have this, this is not in the instructions, but I'm going to show you that if you click the plus button, it'll be here. So if you want to come back and connect to this later, you've got a nice shortcut. I'm going to now click Connect. And this takes us to step 4, where we're asked for our login credentials. pconrad, my name is already in the name box, so I just need to put in my CECIL password and click Connect. Now when I do that, it's going to bring up in the Finder window, which I had scrolled off to the side, it's going to bring this up and we will see, it takes a minute to load. And by the way, if you have lots and lots of files and folders in your top level directory on CECIL, this will take a super extra long time to load. For purposes of this video, the first time I made the video, it just took forever to load, like 5 minutes. So I stopped, went in, cleaned up my home directory so it would have a lot fewer files and folders in it. You can see everything here is just under old now, and that loads a lot faster. So these are now, you can see I've got 2 pconrad windows. This one is my Mac. And this one, you can see the icon changes. This is a little house icon for the home directory of my Mac. This icon is a network share. And this network share is my home directory on CECIL. Just to show that that's true, in this window down here, I'm going to SSH into CECIL. And I'll put in my password. And I'll do an ls, and we'll see that these folder names are the same folder names as here. And we'll see that if I double-click and go into CS156, as down here, if I cd into CS156, you'll see that I have the same two folders here that I have here. If I were to make another directory, let's say make dir labo3, you see that labo3 appears right there. And if I were to come down here and do rm dir labo3, you can see that after a moment, labo3 disappears. If I were to come down here and say emacs hello.java, and then go in here and say, let's see, public class hello, open brace, close brace, and let me just save that file and exit Emacs. You can see I now have a hello.java file right here in my home directory on CECIL. Now the cool thing though is that I can also edit this. I can open this with Visual Studio Code. So now I'm working inside Visual Studio Code where I have access to all the power of Visual Studio. And to be clear, I am running Visual Studio Code on my Mac, not on CECIL. And I'm not using the special SSH extension in this case. I am simply opening a file on my Mac that happens to live on CECIL. So I could go in here and do public static void main string square bracket args system.out.println hello. And the idea is that I'm editing on VS Code on my Mac, but if I make sure that the file is saved, so we'll save, and then I come down here and javac hello.java, and then java hello. I am running on CECIL through SSH, but I'm editing on my Mac. And I can now save that file. If I do a save as, you'll see that I can save it either in my home directory on CECIL, or if I go all the way up to Philip's MacBook Pro and then go into this pconreg directory, now I would be saving it on my Mac's hard drive. So I can save it in either place. I have access when I open my VSCode save as to navigate, starting at the top here, either to, and let's see, under here, if I open this up, I need to go to Philip's MacBook Pro. There I can find the pconreg share. And in there, I should be able to find, for example, CS156. And I could save this under hello world.java. And now I'm saving it in my directory on CECIL. So hopefully that helps you understand how we would go about mounting a directory, from mounting your home directory as if it were a hard drive on your Mac. I'll show you one more thing, which is that I can go into, for example, JSPA01 pconrad. In this directory, if I type, actually I don't want to type code dot here. What I would want to do instead is, because if I type code dot here, it's going to try to open up VS Code on CECIL. That I don't want. Well, what I would want to do is bring up a directory on my Mac, and then on my Mac, I'm going to want to find that, that network share. And if I cd to the very top of my file system, let me show you that, cd / which goes to the very top of my file system, and then I go under volumes, you will see that under volumes I have pconrad. That pconrad under volumes is going to be terminal app would like access files on network volume, and we'll say OK. And that is going to be the home directory on my Mac. So here is where I can cd into CS156, and then cd into JSPA01 pconrad. And then if I say code dot, it will open up VSCode, and I will have the entire directory. Again, this is a directory on CECIL, but I'm editing it with VSCode on my Mac. Okay, so a couple of things. If you at some point needed to unmount this, I'm going to close all the applications that are using the share. So that means closing this window as well. And then this is actually a window, an SSH terminal window on CECIL, so that one we can leave open. But I think we've closed all of the windows that were using that share. If I wanted to dismount it, I would go into the Finder, go click on pconrad, and go up to the file window and go to eject. I can also right-click on it and say eject pconrad, and that will unmount it. The disk wasn't ejected because one or more programs may be using it. I could force eject, but maybe that's not such a good idea. So apparently I had thought that I had closed all the programs that were using it. I hadn't. So if we look, oh, there's a lot of programs here. It's probably VSCode. Let's go ahead and quit out of VSCode, and let's try that again. Eject pconrad. And nope, it doesn't want to do it. So we're not going to force eject that right now, but if we quit out of all of the other programs on our Mac, we could very likely eject that, and that would sever the connection. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop here. I hope this video was useful. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions or comments, you can post them on YouTube, though I probably won't see them there. If you're actually a student in my class, using the Slack for the class is probably a better idea. Okay, take care.